Welcome to Mock Draft Madness Day 3. We are doing a mock draft every single day until the actual NFL draft on April 27th. I'm Hunter with You Don't Know Ball. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite and least favorite pick in this mock draft. Also, leave trade scenarios down below. If we're going to be doing mock drafts every day, we have to make them interesting. And my plan is, if you guys have trade scenarios that you want to see play out, let me know and I will be sure to make that happen, because all these are scenarios that could play out. Maybe not likely, but at the end of the day, we don't know what's happening in April. So today we are going to do a first round mock. And what we're going to do is, yesterday we had the Falcons trade up to 5 and then the Raiders trade up to 4. Well, we had a comment that let me know, basically, the Falcons, if they're not getting May, they're not going to trade up without knowing that, he's on the clock, which I understand that. So what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. We are going to look at a Commanders rebuild scenario. So what we're going to do is we're going to trade with the Commanders here, and we're going to pick swap, obviously, give them our second, give them our first next year, and then a second. Obviously, work out the compensation at home. I don't really know. So force the trade here. So right now it is Bears, Falcons, Patriots. Okay, so we're going to start the draft here. The Bears, I'll switch this up tomorrow. Bears, for this mock, we're going to go Caleb Williams, which I think is already locked in, so pretty much. The report that came out with Albert Breer today on MMQB was kind of telling. But at number 2, we're going to have the Falcons going Drake May. I think if they're not able to get Kirk Cousins in free agency, I think this is probably the route they're going to try to go. Another team, though, that is definitely going to try to get a quarterback is the Vikings. So we'll play with a trade with them soon enough. So at number 3, we have the Patriots. I'm going to go Jaden Daniels. So we got quarterback. Then I'm going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so here is where we're going to do the next trade. We are going to have the Minnesota Vikings trade up, because it looks like Kirk Cousins is probably going to be going elsewhere. I don't know for sure. I think it's Atlanta is kind of where he's leaning. Mike Evans just re-signed with the Buccaneers today, so to me that strikes me as Baker Mayfield's going to resign, because that's the receiver he had the most success with. And I know New England is kind of like a player for Baker, just like kind of whispers here and there. But I think with Mike Evans, I think if Mike Evans went elsewhere, Baker Mayfield would have considered free agency more. But I think now that Mike Evans is there, Baker Mayfield is also going to resign. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick swap. I'm going to give him our second, give him a first next year. Obviously, first year GM, first year head coach in Los Angeles. They can still get a very good player at 11, maybe build up some draft capital so you can really get this rebuild going. And it's not a total rebuild for the Chargers. They have pieces. So I would consider it what the Vikings have been doing, it's called a competitive rebuild, which I don't know if they always work the best, because, you don't have the most flexibility, but with a quarterback like Justin Herbert, I think it has a lot more areas for success. So it might take more than this, maybe like a fourth next year too. So I'm just going to force that through. This is kind of a lot, actually. I don't know. If you want to go get your guy, it's going to take a lot. So we are going to have the Minnesota Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy, who is more and more, as it's talked about, is more likely that he's going to be a top 15, even top 12, top 8 pick in the NFL draft. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that can happen from now until April 27th, but the reality is quarterback needy teams will spend. So now we're sitting here with the Giants. I think realistically they will probably go receiver here. We also have the best O-lineman on the board still. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors to the Giants. And then, so here's two options, okay? You could go get Rome Odunze for Will Levis, because Treylon Burks hasn't panned out. D-Hop is getting older. He's on the last year of his contract. But in my opinion, it is easier to go get receivers, and it is not the easiest to go get tackles in that draft, right? So or in free agency. So I think pairing Joe Alt with Peter Skoronski is probably the more safe move, because let's say you go get Rome and Levis is getting sacked. You don't know what you're going to get. And I know you can look at the Jamar Chase and Panay Sewell situation, but I will say this. Will Levis is probably not Joe Burrow. So I guess my thing is I would want to do a better job protecting Will Levis or whoever is going to be that guy in the next 2-3 years if they determine that isn't Will Levis. So I think Joe Alt is the safer pick here. Now we're at an interesting spot with the Washington Commanders, okay? Because I think they need linemen badly, and because I believe they just released Charles Leno, and they cut their center. So I am going to go Olu Fashanu. We have 2 tackles going back-to-back to the Washington Commanders. This leaves a prime wide receiver candidate for the Bears at 9. So we're going to go Rome Odunze, pair him with the rookie QB. At number 10, this leaves the Jets in an awkward spot because they can't get the top 2 tackle prospects. But I will say this, Talisa Fuaga has rose up draft boards quite a bit since the Senior Bowl, and I think his combine did him favors as well. So I think we're going to go Talisa Fuaga. You can't have 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers running around with no help. At number 11, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Well, this leaves them in prime territory for Brock Bowers. And I know we did this yesterday at 8, but they're able to move back even farther and get their guy. So give me Brock Bowers. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos. We could go edge here. We could go CB. You know, I went interior last draft, and here is my thing. I think the reality is Denver doesn't really have like a lot of draft assets. Well, they do. It's not bad. It's just they have nothing in this top 50. So in this scenario, what I'm going to do is I am going to trade back. We need to figure out a team to trade back with first, though. Let's see. Well, the Bengals won't be trading up because they, Brock Bowers is off the board. So let's see a team that would trade up for one of these guys. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Dallas Turner, is a very freaky edge, and you have all the top corners. So I want to trade back and give the Broncos a second and then possibly have them take a wide receiver later. I just don't see a team that is going to be desperately looking to trade up and get one of these guys. I think there's so much talent on the defensive side of the ball left at this area of the draft that it's kind of hard. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Nate Wiggins and put him next to Pat Surtain. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders are in an interesting spot because they could go defensive interior. They could go edge and put him on the other side of Max Crosby. I know they had an edge there that had a decent year as well, but at the end of the day, you can never have too many pass rushers, and I think putting someone like, I know that's the issue, is they drafted Tyree Wilson, and I really wish Tyree Wilson wasn't a miss, because if Tyree Wilson wasn't a miss, this pick would be a little bit easier. I don't know. I don't think their O-line is the worst thing in the building. Give me Terrion Arnold to the Raiders. I think he can be kind of that guy that AP wants. AP wants that tough, hard-nosed football player, and I think Terrion Arnold is all about ball and would love to be a Raider. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints. J.C. Latham to the Saints makes so much sense here. Very, in my opinion, high floor guy. Probably one of the strongest guys in the draft class. And the Trevor Penning project isn't really working out. Ryan Ramczyk, injured. They are either going to go O-line or D-line here, in my opinion. And J.C. Latham makes a lot of sense. At number 15, to the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, so They're returning all their O linemen, so I'm not going to go Jackson Powers Johnson here. You know, they could go defensive interior because Grover Stewart's getting a little bit older. He had a PED suspension. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Byron Murphy at number 15 to the Colts. I know they might typically select a corner. I've had them doing that. So I'm going to avoid that. And here we go. I've had the Seahawks take Jackson Powers Johnson for the last 2 days, and instead I'm going to have them taking Jared Verse out of Florida State to beef up that line. Now we have the Jaguars at number 17. So let me take a look at their depth chart really quickly because I just want to make sure that I am right in looking at Jackson Powers Johnson here. I know they traded for Ezra Cleveland, I believe. So yeah, let's take a look. Ezra Cleveland, Brandon Sheriff, Luke Fortner. Let's see how he. He's relatively young. Yeah, so I'm gonna avoid Jackson Powers Johnson here. I think the easy choice would be like an edge or a CB, and an easy choice would be an edge. Well, yes, they have Josh Allen. Yes, they have Trayvon Walker. But I guess my thing is you can never have too many pass rushers, and at the end of the day, you have a premier guy right here in Dallas Turner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the Jags Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. I think he can be that alpha CB1 for them. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, who need help on the interior. They need tackle help. And I think what I'm going to do for them is I am going to give them Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Amarius Mims had an insane shuttle, I believe, at the combine. And usually when a corner or a tackle, I'm all over the place today. A tackle has a high shuttle. I saw the stat was like 24 out of 28 of the tackles that had a shuttle under 4.47 or something like that. They started a ton of games in the NFL. Whether it's at the highest level or not is another story, but you're getting a quality NFL starter there. So at number 19, I don't know the stat. I saw it yesterday, so I'm just pulling it out of memory. So if I can find it, I'll put it in the description, but I probably will have no clue how to find it. So at number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams. We have a lot that we could do here. Give me Jerzon Newton. Put him next to Aaron Donald and see what he can do. I think my thing is Aaron Donald, you don't know how long you have left with him, right? And you want to be able to replicate that force in the middle. And I'm not saying Jerzon Newton is going to be that. But if he takes a year or two and learns from the best, you can hope that he develops into a type of player that has that type of impact. Or even if he has 80% or 75% of that impact, you'd be happy. At number 20, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have Cooper DeJean, Dallas Turner, Jackson Powers Johnson, and Jackson Powers Johnson, in my opinion, is a match made in heaven for the Steelers. At number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins. You could go Troy Fontanu. You could go Graham Barton. Jackson Powers Johnson was probably the best option for them. I am going to go... I did have... The thing is, I think I had Fontanu yesterday, so I'm going to go Barton just to switch it up. Both guys played tackle in college, can play any position on the interior of the O-line, and I think it would be a great pick for them to beef it up. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. So you could go Edgerrin Cooper here. You could go Peyton Wilson here. The issue is, do you want to take a linebacker in the first round? I don't know if you do. I think Cooper DeJean is really a match made in heaven, and I think that would make the most sense for them. So that's what I'm going to do. I just think it lines up perfectly for what they want. So now we have the Houston Texans. I'm going to avoid taking an edge, and I'm going to give them a wide receiver. And I know Brian Thomas Jr. is on the board here, and that would be really nice. But I did Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday. So I'm going to give them Brian Thomas Jr. again. It just makes sense. I will switch it up tomorrow and have Brian Thomas Jr. go a little bit earlier, just so I'm not doing the same thing every day. But now we're sitting here, and I think Troy Fontanu to the Dallas Cowboys makes a lot of sense. Or, you know what? Actually, give me Tyler Guyton, because the Cowboys are known to take home run swings, and Tyler Guyton can be that home run guy. So I think what the best option for them is take a home run guy. If he pans out, he pans out. Tyler Smith has been great for them, and I'm really interested to see what they'd be able to do with a massive prospect like Tyler Guyton, who rounds out at 6'7". So now we have the Green Bay Packers. So they do need a running back. No running back is going to go this high out of this class. We have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who I gave them yesterday. We had Tyler Nubin, who I gave them the first day. We could give him Ennis Rakestraw, but out of just being real, I am going to give them Tyler Nubin. Just switch it up from yesterday, but it's probably going to be a safety or a cornerback, someone in that DB room. At number 26, give me Dallas Turner. He has fallen way too far in this draft, and I think that's an easy add. And for the Arizona Cardinals, you could go Troy Fontanu, but I'm going to go Laiatu Latu. I think both edges that shouldn't be here go back to back. At some point, they're going to stop falling, and one of these teams is going to take them. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills. So, Buffalo Bills, this would be a perfect spot for Adonai Mitchell. He is someone who really impressed at the combine. He was someone who was a baller at Texas. And I think with the way Keon Coleman kind of slid down boards based on his combine performance, my thing is this with Keon. I think he is a gamer, so I think he's one of those guys that can come out and just be that dude on the field. Like, he may not test well, like CJ Stroud said, like, I play ball, I don't take tests. And I think that can be Keon Coleman. But I think Adonai Mitchell marks off a couple more boxes than Keon Coleman does. At number 29, especially in speed, at number 29 to the Detroit Lions, I'm going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry, best corner on the board here. At number 30 to the Baltimore Ravens, we need a wide receiver, we need D-line, and we need cornerback. So, wide receiver, we can take a look at our options, right? We have Troy Franklin, we have Ladd McConkey, who I both think are good guys, but I would like to get a guy that's a little bit different than Stephon Diggs. You also could use D-line here. I don't see anybody really there that I'd want to give them. You could use cornerback. Ennis Rakestraw is here. TJ Tampa is here. I really would like TJ Tampa to the Ravens. I think he would be an interesting player. He's a big, physical, fast, long corner who isn't afraid to put a hit down. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix it up and give TJ Tampa to the Baltimore Ravens. At number 25, Troy Fontanu, or at number 31 to the San Francisco 49ers, Troy Fontanu is the easy option here. So we need D-line and we need wide receiver. So I think Keon Coleman is the perfect pick for the Chiefs. I think they can take a shot on a guy. Obviously, I think they should go out in free agency and get like a proven vet to go along with Rashee Rice. But if you're able to get Keon Coleman along with that, I think that is a good pick. So this has been Mock Draft Madness Day 3. We are getting closer and closer to the actual NFL draft. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite pick from this mock draft, your least favorite pick, and also leave trade scenarios in the comments, and I will be sure to do them in my mock drafts. It just makes them a little bit more interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.